Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Schooner Morning Show with Mark Prevost, which will change eventually. But with us today, we have one of our star associates and team members. He is a team player, the Assistant Food Service Director here at Schooner Estates, under Seth Lyons, our Food Service Director. This is Todd Hopkins. Welcome, Todd. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the morning show.
I didn't have a choice.
So I knew this was going to be funny. So tell us, the tenants would like to know. Give us a little bit of history on your background. Where were you born? Where did you grow up and go to school?
I don't know if I've ever officially grown up, but I was born in Manchester, Maine. Well, actually, I was born in Augusta, Maine, but I'm from Manchester. My parents own a flower shop in Manchester, Hopkins Flowers and Gifts, that my grandfather started in 1955.
Wow.
So I lived in Manchester for till I was in my 20s, and then I went off to college, and I went to University of Southern Maine.
University of Southern Maine.
Yes, I did.
For?
I studied history and economics.
Ah, wow.
A far cry from what I'm doing today.
That's all right. Happens to all of us.
Yeah.
You have siblings too, right?
I have two older brothers.
Two older brothers, so three boys.
That's right.
Did your father come up with the concept of My Three Sons? Wasn't he the inventor of that show?
I believe he was.
He was, yeah.
He was very persistent, I know that.
Yes.
He wanted three sons.
He wanted three sons, and he got them good.
My mother wanted me to be the daughter that she never had, so I did get special treatment.
Well, that makes perfect sense. You are the baby of the family.
I still am.
Okay.
I always will be.
So from college, did you go on to school, culinary school, or anything?
I have never been to culinary school. I did tour Johnson and Wales with Seth in Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Because straight out of high school, I was considering going to culinary school because at that point I'd already worked in restaurants for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it was on the radar, but ultimately I decided to go to USM and explore some other topics.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
some other areas.
Which come in very handy in life skills and stuff. And I know it helps you here with mentoring and doing all the coaching and everything that you do in the kitchen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So after college, where did you go to work right in the restaurant industry again? Or
Actually, since I graduated college, I graduated in 2009, which was right during the economic recession.
Wow.
So that was a big reality check. There wasn't a lot of jobs available, except there was always the restaurant to fall back on because restaurants were still always hiring. So I wasn't too concerned. I just went kind of back to my roots. And so that wasn't a bad transition, but it was definitely, I didn't know how long that recession was gonna last, so I was kind of bouncing around, and that's when I did go work for a farm in Wayne that a friend of mine that I went to high school with owned and operated, which was Stevenson Strawberries in Wayne.
Yeah.
So I spent some time there, and also working at the Augusta Country Club. So that was a really good experience because I wanted to be one step closer to the food production. How things were grown. And just the local food scene, so I could learn more about it.
Yeah. You do like that. You love to find out the nitty-gritty all over, right down to the beginning. I'm surprised you didn't know when the recession would end, though, being an economics major like you were.
I know, right? It was just seemed like it was getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would have such a long-lasting impact, but there were so many friends of mine who had advanced degrees that were looking for looking for any job they could get their hands on.
Anything at all. I remember that. Yeah. I was working here, but I remember people looking for jobs and couldn't get them. I had a lot of friends that couldn't get the work.
I don't know if
I wouldn't say they're friends. They were just people I know.
Yeah, right.
That's better.
Your acquaintances.
Right. See, he's good. So is that where you met Seth? You met Seth?
I met Seth at the Augusta Country Club. I started there when I was 15. And
boy.
Seth had been hired earlier that year, I think, I can't remember what year that was, but he had been hired earlier that year. The country club had basically hired a new general manager and 2 new chefs, and Seth was one of them.
Right.
And so that's where I first, my brother actually, my middle brother Matt had got a job there as a dishwasher. And so as soon as I found that out, I was like, Matt, you got to get me a job there.
Right.
You got to get me a job there.
Right.
So eventually I got in working Saturdays.
Ah.
Yeah.
And how convenient, because your family's florist business is right next to the
door.
country club.
I was never late.
It's amazing.
Not
Unlike
once.
now, but anyway, it is amazing how those things work out.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was super convenient, and it was a great place to work. And I learned all the fundamentals that I know today came from working in that kitchen.
Right.
Under Seth's leadership and Dave and Hank Redmond.
Now, were you working there before you worked here, or were you somewhere else?
Yes, I was at the country club.
Still at the country club,
Yeah.
'cause
I bounced around a lot, but I ended up back at the country club. At that point, Seth was still there, and Dave. Those two were running the kitchen. So obviously, I loved working with both of them. So it was a kind of a no-brainer. They were looking for some help, and I was out of college, and I was
Sure.
like,
Hey, I can help.
I can help.
Right.
So
I'll never forget. I remember Seth saying he was working when Mike left and Seth moved up to that position. He did not have an assistant, and
Right.
he was new in the position and working his hind end off.
Yep.
And he kept saying, if I can just wait a little bit longer, I've got the perfect person to do the assistant job, but I've just got to wait a little while to get him. I remember him saying that, and I kept saying, who?
he was talking about.
He was talking about
me,
you,
right.
and he said, how, I'm thinking to myself, how good can this guy be to wait like this when we need the help right away? But as it turns
Sure
out,
enough,
it
yeah.
was wonderful. It
was
sounds
perfect timing.
Perfect timing. And
Yeah.
it sounds, as we're talking here, you pretty much owe your life to Seth Lyons.
I am here to announce to everyone here at Schooner that I indeed owe everything to Seth Lyons. Wouldn't be here without him.
They are the closest of friends, and it's just a standing joke. It's fun. I'll tell you, it's so much fun working here. They just make it fun. Anybody who works in the kitchen has a ball.
Yes,
has a
we do.
ball.
Yes, we
they
do.
do.
Yeah.
And it is proven by the fact that we have folks leave employment and come back.
All the time.
I mean, it's amazing to me that the kitchen has the highest rate of people that do return to work, because they go out and find out the grass is not greener on the other side, and they had it really good here and were treated with respect and treated very well from Seth and Todd. Our dynamic duo, as I call them.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have some hobbies too. I know you have a lot of hobbies, and I know you love to read, and I know you are voracious.
Great word.
Voracious.
Say it again.
You are a voracious. I can't think of what else I want to say. Reader and person who just expunges information from everywhere you can find it.
Thank you so much for noticing.
Yes, and you have taken up a hobby of photography,
Yeah,
which we've been very fortunate to.
Yeah, as many people know here, I do photography. When I graduated college, I got to finish my last semester in Argentina. So I told my brother Matt, I said, you got to convince mom and dad to buy me a digital camera for graduating college.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I got you covered. So upon graduating, my parents bought me my first digital camera that I was able to take down to South America with me. And that's where it all started.
How come we haven't seen those pictures of South America yet?
We could do that.
That would be a
sometime.
program
Yeah.
the tenants would love,
Yes,
as
yeah.
they loved your last one.
Yes, yeah. So obviously the hobby has grown out of control.
Yeah.
As I've wanted to justify buying more lenses, more cameras, more everything.
I know
It's
most
super
of you-
expensive, so
Most of you have seen it, but he's got the biggest lens I've ever seen. That thing is this big,
Mark
and
is extremely envious.
oh,
of,
it is
of my
it
birding
is
lens.
it is really good, really good. And he gets great shots because of it, because of the size of his lens.
Yeah. That definitely makes a huge difference because now you can be a little bit further away and actually zoom right in. And that's definitely elevated the photography to a whole other level.
It looks like you're standing 6 inches from the bird
Yeah.
when you're actually probably 30 feet or 20 feet.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
I'm 37.
37. Mm-hmm. You have 2 young ones.
I have 2 young ones, Jack and Abby.
Yeah.
Jack is 6, Abby is 3. So Jack's in kindergarten this year.
Now there's a beer brewery called Jack Abbey.
Jack's Abbey.
Is that where you got the name?
No, but
because that's one of my favorite breweries now.
I actually discovered it later, and I was mind blown. I was like, wow, they took my idea.
Yeah. So you have been doing extremely well. I'm positive you're going to do extremely well in the future. Schooner is very fortunate to have you and continue to have you. And I just wanted to give an opportunity for our tenants to get to know you a little bit more and know that, the climb and what you went through to get to where you are today.
Well, thank you.
And doing better all the time.
Yeah.
And we thank Seth Lyons for his outstanding mentorship and making Todd the man he is today. So.
And I would quickly just add that upon coming to Schooner, I really didn't know what to expect, and because I hadn't worked in one of these types of facilities before. So when I entered into the front doors, I was immediately impressed. Jan happened to be the first person I met.
Oh boy!
And obviously, you meet Jan and you're like, wow, Jan is wonderful. So it was immediately a nice feeling. But I'll never forget listening to Mark Prevost, that's you, talk about why you love your job, why coming to work would never felt like coming to work. And that really ignited the sort of passion that I feel working here and working with the residents and tenants and even the staff. And everybody's just had that energy.
Yes.
And it's just and it's a great energy to be around.
Right.
So I want to thank you for really giving me a good kickstart into my career here.
Okay, great. That's great. Thank you, Todd. And we all...
I'm going to need that $20.
I thought you said 50. I'll gladly give you the 20. So we know we have a wonderful staff here, and it's all the way through, from everyone to everyone, no matter where they work. We have a great culture here, and that will continue for a long time, I'm sure. So, again, thank you very much for tuning in today. This has been The Morning Show. And our guest today, Todd Hopkins, the Assistant Food Service Director, right here at Schooner Estates Senior Living Community. Have a great day and tune in again for our next interview.